Beer here back in the Fantasy Bar, week 17 on tap. We got 6 of my favorite plays ready for you to go on FanDuel and DraftKings, including a lot of guys in the mid-range. I am looking at a value tight end for you on the cheap, a running back in the mid-range that continues to rack up targets, a game I want to target with a comeback and a running back on the other side, and a beast of the week. I absolutely love the spot for this week, not named Christian McCaffrey. Who we talking about? Only one way to find out. It's time to belly up to the Fantasy Bar. Welcome in, guys. Week 17 edition ready to rock here in the Fantasy Bar. 6 of my favorite plays for you on FanDuel and DraftKings. Thank you, as always. Stop by the Fantasy Bar and checking out this week's video. Before we get into the plays, let's knock out the housekeeping first thing. If you enjoy the videos, you enjoy hanging out in the Fantasy Bar, make sure you click that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Don't miss any of the content. Still doing NBA videos twice a week, and my Pints and Picks video as well with 2 of my favorite NFL bets. So make sure you are subscribed. And special offer for you guys. This is expiring on January 1st. So take advantage of our holiday sale on our props and pick'em package. 50% off of your first month, guys. Got to get over there. I've absolutely been crushing it on this thing. So if you enjoy betting props, make sure you check that out. Up well over 30 units on that thing. 50% off. Take advantage before that expires on January 1st. All right, let's get into the plays here. Let's start in the mid-range at running back with Ezekiel Elliott of New England. Now we know Ramondre Stevenson off to the IR. Zeke getting all the work that he can handle in this New England backfield. I get it, it hasn't been great on the ground, but the passing game usage here, absolutely elite for Ezekiel Elliott. We're talking Alvin Kamara type usage here. So let's take advantage. Certainly like him a lot more on DraftKings, but FanDuel certainly in play as well at 6,400, but we're talking 21 receptions for Zeke over the last 3 weeks alone, 25 targets in that time frame, averaging over 40 receiving yards per week. So this is certainly a prop bet that you can look into, whether it's receptions or the yards here. And the most likely scenario here is New England playing from behind here. Buffalo, bottom 10 in targets allowed to the running back position, receptions and receiving yards allowed. Good receiving matchup here for Zeke Elliott. I don't think a touchdown out of the question here to help us out on FanDuel. Great spot for Zeke this week against the Buffalo Bills. All right, let's stay in the mid-range at wide receiver next with Zay Flowers of Baltimore. Now, questionable tag here for Zay Flowers. I think he'll be fine. We saw the same thing play out last week, and I love this game this week for Baltimore against the Miami Dolphins. Should be a shootout, big total in this game here. And Flowers really stepping it up, and we've seen this over the last few years. Some of these rookie receivers really start to find their way towards the end of the season, and Flowers has emerged with Mark Andrews on the shelf as the top pass-catching option in this Ravens offense. Touchdowns now in 3 of his last 4 games, 20 or more DraftKings points in 3 of those games as well. In Miami, 6 most receiving touchdowns allowed. So Flowers has a nose for the end zone. Miami been giving him up big time to the position. Also, bottom 10 in receiving yards allowed to this position. I think we got a lot of points in this game. I think Zay Flowers a big part of the game plan for the Ravens. Going to be a big part of my builds here for week 17. All right, let's go to the quarterback position in a dream bounce back spot here for Brock Purdy of San Francisco. A lot of great options available at the quarterback position, but we can't draw this up any better. We saw Purdy really struggle, have his worst game of the season last week, but now gets the medicine to turn things around here against this awful Washington defense. Washington has given up a league high 33 passing touchdowns already this season. We're talking bottom 3 as well in passing yards, fantasy points allowed. And the beauty with Purdy, we know there's a lot of ways that you can go with this 49ers pass catching group. McCaffrey, Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, a ton of ways. Double stacks, triple stacks, not out of the play here. And the Washington side, there's some cheaper pieces that we can run it back. So I'm not going to give you a pairing option here with Purdy this week. I'm going to let you guys divvy up those Purdy lineups. If I have to name one, it's likely Debo as my favorite, but this is going to be a common build for me. Purdy with 1, 2, potentially 3 of his pass catchers with some value on the board at some other spots. Brock Purdy, I think, goes nuts here in this game, gets back in the MVP conversation. Get him in those lineups here for week 17. All right, we didn't give you a 49er pass catcher, but we're going to go to the other side here with wide receiver Terry McLaurin. So news dropped the other day, Jacoby Brissett, the new starting quarterback for the Washington Commanders, and that is good news here for Terry McLaurin. Yes, very limited sample that we have seen these two together, but in that limited time, they have really had a nice rapport together here. Washington, huge 12.5-point underdogs in this game. So I think you're going to see a ton of passing here from Jacoby Brissett trying to keep up with this Niners team. And the Niners been vulnerable against wide receivers. Just saw a big game from the aforementioned Zay Flowers against this team. 4th most receptions allowed to this position and bottom half of the league in fantasy points allowed. So you add up a team playing from behind, a team that has struggled with wide receivers. It's a great spot here for Terry McLaurin in week 17. All right, let's get some value at the tight end position with Gerald Everett of the Chargers. So we know the Chargers season in the tank here. Keenan Allen likely not going to come back. I don't think it makes any sense to rush him back out on the field. We have not seen him practice. And what does that mean? A ton of targets available here for the rest of these Chargers pass catchers. Now, Everett, the role has really started to grow. This has been a frustrating tight end situation with the Chargers utilizing multiple guys here, but we've seen 8 targets in each of the last 3 games for Gerald Everett here, and the matchup as good as it gets for tight ends. No team in the league giving up more receiving touchdowns, 10 already. Next closest team has only given up 6, so Denver really giving it up there, and of course that has led to them giving up the most fantasy points, making Gerald Everett a fantastic value here on both sides against this awful Denver tight end defense. All right, it's time to take a look at my favorite play for week 17. Before we do that, let's continue our Beast of the Week contest. Easy to play. All you got to do, click that thumbs up button, then head to the comment section and guess fantasy points on FanDuel this week. For my Beast of the Week, whoever's got the closest guess, we're going to give you an absolutely free month of RotoGrinders Premium NFL. And what a time to have that if you are not a premium subscriber already. Regular season wrapping up, and the playoffs will be starting here in a couple weeks. You get an entire month for free just for hanging out here in the Fantasy Bar and getting that closest guess over on FanDuel. All right, let's wrap this baby up with my favorite play for week 17. You know, Matt's the Beast of the Week. All right, Beast time. We're going to go back to the running back position and spend up on running back Kyren Williams of the Rams, this week's Beast of the Week. Now, Christian McCaffrey, obviously in a great spot. Can you get them both in a lineup here? I think you can. I think that's definitely a way to go. I think Kyren is the guy. If we have to find one guy that can give us the Christian McCaffrey leverage and do what he can do, that is Kyren Williams. Only twice this entire season has he been under 17 DraftKings points, so gives us that floor that you want in your cash games. We know the upside is there to go into the 30s and into the 40s here in your GPP lineups as well. And the Giants, for the last 6 teams, have gone for 145 rushing yards or more. That now puts them bottom 5 in rushing yards allowed, rushing touchdowns allowed, and a bottom 10 unit in fantasy points allowed. Rams have their eyes on the playoffs. Kyren Williams getting all the work he can handle. I don't think that stops this week. Kyren Williams, easily my favorite play on the board in this week's Beast of the Week. All right, guys, that'll do it for our Week 17 six-pack. As always, any comments, questions, or feedback, you know where to find me. Hit me up in that comment section right below the video. Can also head over to Twitter, follow me at Beermakersfan, and don't forget your guess for Kyren Williams fantasy points on FanDuel for a shot at a free month of RotoGrinders Premium. For RotoGrinders.com, I am Beer saying salut, guys. Hope everybody had a great Christmas and early Happy New Year to everybody out there. And don't forget, check out my Pints and Picks video with 2 of my favorite NFL bets. That will be out on Friday, along with an NBA six-pack for Friday slate if you are still playing in the NBA streets. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year's from everybody here at RotoGrinders. Good luck this weekend, and we will see you.
Hey, thanks for checking out our videos. If you want more expert advice on DraftKings, FanDuel, or any other daily fantasy sports, make sure you check out the current videos playlist